Welcome to Health, Harmony, and Happiness with Kathy. I'm your host, Kathy Stricker. In my personal life, I am a wife to a dedicated law enforcement officer and mama to 3 lively littles. I'm an adamantine yoga teacher, health coach, community betterment advocate, and wellness enthusiast. But what I really like doing is connecting others with tools and resources that bring about health, harmony, and happiness. Whatever this looks like to you, I'm here to offer my own insights and tools from others that allow you to realize your full potential to live mindfully as your authentic, best self. Allow me to be a guide in discovering what works for you. Hey everybody, today I'm talking with my friend and chiropractor, Dr. LeeAnnHuff of Chiropractic Health Center in Knoxville, Iowa. She has kind of been a godsend during this pregnancy, and I love not only the fact that I leave her office generally feeling better, but I also get my bucket filled a little bit because she's always has these awesome tips and insights on parenting and motherhood and business that I wanted to bring her in to share with you all some of her tips that she has about balancing work and family. One of my favorites has to do with their rules for technology at home, and it's one that I'm hopefully going to bring back to my husband and be able to implement somewhat, or slowly at least, in our own family. So enjoy today's show. All right, so LeeAnn, thanks so much for taking time to talk with me today. You have a beautiful day to be doing this interview, so I'm glad that you're getting to enjoy the sunshine while you're doing the interview. Can you tell my listeners a little bit about you personally and professionally?
Sure. First off, it is gorgeous, so I do apologize if my voice is not here because I'm sitting outside. I am a mom of 3. My kids are 8, 4, and 2. They are awesome. I have 2 boys and a little girl. I married my junior high sweetheart. So we have been dating since we were 13 years old. So
Oh my
I'm not
gosh.
going to tell you years we've been dating because that'll tell you how old I am. However, we've been married. It'll be 14 years in October that we've been married. And been together longer than that. He works in maintenance at a local factory here. He's kind of my fix-it dude. So he's a pretty cool guy. Professionally, I went to Knoxville High School, and then I went to Simpson College in Indianola and got my undergrad degree there. And then I went and got my doctorate. I'm a doctor of chiropractic. I got that in Davenport. And I've been graduated from chiropractic school now for 10 years. And actually just yesterday, I celebrated my 5-year anniversary at owning the Knoxville office.
Yay, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's really exciting.
It's awesome. And then before that, I worked in Norwalk, Ankeny, and downtown Des Moines before I opened the Knoxville place.
Cool. So some good, well-rounded experiences, I guess, with that.
A lot of it, yes.
So talk about owning your business a little bit. How does that impact your family? And how is that different from the other locations that you were working, that you were not the one in charge and all responsible for everything?
Right. The biggest changes I would say is when I was an employee, when I got home, I was home. Like, I didn't have to think about taxes. I didn't have to think about payroll. I didn't have to think, am I going to offer 401k? I didn't have to think about, I just was able to kind of go in, do my thing and come home, which was great. I didn't have kids then. So I didn't know how easy I had it. But since I've had kids, I was an independent contractor in an office. So the whole time I've had kids. So I don't know what it's like to own a business and not be a mom, I guess. I've always been a mom owning a business. And really that came about because as I was pregnant with Hank, my oldest, I thought to myself, what do I want for my kids? And what I wanted for my kids was to reach whatever goals they'd set for themselves. And I had realized that working for somebody wasn't necessarily my goal. My goal was to work for myself. So I decided I'm going to open a business while I'm a million months pregnant. And here we are. Because my first office I opened was in Norwalk. So it went well. I just was ready to move home because I needed, well, number one, I got to grow up around my grandparents. So I wanted that for my kids. But at the same time, I needed help. It's tough to run a business and be a mom, and to be all things to all people is nearly impossible, but it's a lot easier when you have family there to help you. So,
yeah. That is so fantastic, because why wouldn't you buy a business or start a business when you're pregnant, or start a new business venture when you're pregnant, right? Kind of doing that thing right now, because you're pregnant with life. So you're pregnant with ideas and newness and creation. So
yeah,
that's, I feel like, how my life has been too. And I guess it works. I don't know. That's fantastic. It is so different though from being an employee versus owning your own business and then having to be in charge of everything. And I don't have employees. I outsource stuff, but you have employees and all that jazz that also comes into it. So what does that look like for your family life then?
It doesn't necessarily, I don't think that having employees impacts my family as much. I do outsource the things that I'm not comfortable with. So things that I know I am not strong with, as in figuring out payroll, figuring out taxes, I have an accountant that does all those things, and I trust her a lot more than I trust myself with that. So I think you have to know what are you good with and what are you not good with, and sometimes that takes some insight to be like, I am not good at XYZ, so I'm not going to do XYZ. And like for my husband, like I take care of everything at the business, like financially. So at home I don't do any of it, because I tell him, I'm like, dude, I've done it all day long, I'm not doing it when I get home too. So for his job, he's an employee at work, so when he comes home, he hasn't paid 1 million bills, or he hasn't, wrote 100 checks. So he takes care of all of our financial stuff at home, which helps a lot, because by the time I'm home, I don't want to write another check.
Right.
I just don't want to. So, that's really nice that he kind of steps up and takes that role. So
that's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. I do that at both places, and sometimes my brain's like, I'm just like, I need an entire weekend to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's,
or to even take a breath and be like, did I pay that? Well, I don't know, because you're paying both all the time. Did I pay water? I don't know, Whereas this way, it's like, okay, I know I paid bills this month at my office, so I'm good.
Yes, exactly.
He does the home stuff. So
exactly.
That's been huge for me, is being able to, and I am a type A. I want to get it done, and I want to do it my way. So that's been something I've learned the more kids I've gotten.
Yeah.
It's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to give people jobs and know that they can accomplish them.
And that it doesn't have to be done. That's what I struggle with. Like, it doesn't have to be done exactly how I would do it. Like, there's 250 ways to wash dishes, and it's okay however my husband's going to do it. It might not be like as efficient as I've discovered it could be, but whatever. It's getting done.
Right. They're done. Yeah. I have clean dishes to eat off of, so I'm okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I do still find myself sometimes going back and reorganizing stuff after he does it.
Stop that. Stop. Shh. Stop that. It's really hard for me to not do that, but I'm getting better at it. It's an ongoing thing to work on, I guess, for us people who like things in their places.
Right. Well, it only makes sense to do it that way. Come on. No.
Exactly. I know. Okay, so talk about family communication then, because you have 3 kids, a business, your husband works outside the home as well. You do have really great family support in town, which is wonderful. But you've also divided up the chores in your household, or the roles, I guess. So talk about what communication looks like for you guys. Do you have a specific like family meeting time that you do each week, each month, or do you just kind of whatever happens, happens?
My husband and I share a calendar on our phones.
Yeah.
So that has been amazing that I can add something or he can add something and it pops up in both of our like to-do list essentially,
Yep.
because like tomorrow he has a doctor's appointment I totally forgot about, but he did put it in the family calendar. So I saw it. Um, so like big things like that were really good. I, with family, as awesome as it is, I do have to kind of finagle our child schedule, our child care schedule weekly. So, because some weeks, one day doesn't work for my father-in-law to watch the kids, but my mom could take that one and then he could take this one. And then, so my kids all do, like this summer, they all do 2 days a week at daycare. And then my father-in-law watches them one day, my mom watches them one day, and then I watch them one day. I not watch them. They're my
Yes,
kids,
I know.
I take a day off. I take Fridays off. So I work extra during the week to be able to take Fridays off. So that we talk about every Sunday, like, hey, did you talk to your dad about Thursday? Did you? So that's about the kids, and then our own schedule stuff. As far as like the home stuff, we don't necessarily have written roles in so much as we're both adults. And if we see something needs done, we do it, like if there's dishes that need done, we both do it. Like either one of us, whoever's there. Now, when I was uber pregnant, I couldn't reach like into the, what's it called? Washing machine.
Yes, that's me right now.
Yes. So he had to do that. And he knew that. And he was great with it. I don't enjoy folding socks. He knows that. So he does it. But he doesn't like to do some things and I do it,
Yeah.
We both just do what needs to be done, I guess,
That's good. It's a team. It's a team effort. That's kind of what we do at our house.
Totally.
But you do like the financial stuff. You've given that to him. That's kind of a big like, thank you, take that off my plate type thing.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
And I think you get enough as a business owner. You do enough, know. And I just let him, like that's on you. If I don't know. I can't. I just can't. So
yeah, I get that. What do you do to dedicate time to play with your kids and to spend time with your kids? You have Fridays off, which is fantastic. Is playing something that you're naturally good at, or do you prefer to like, I don't know. I have one friend who she's just like, I'm just not a good player. I have to force myself to play and I hate doing it, but I need to do it. And but other parents are really good at just playing. And my husband is one of these parents who he'll just roughhouse and wrestle. And I think that's easier for him to do than me. I'd rather play games or read books and do that kind of stuff with the kids.
See, I like all of that stuff, like to go out and play catch. I love like, we're a pretty athletic family. So we like athletic things. Now to sit down and play make-believe, no, thank you. It is not my favorite.
That's what I mean.
I just don't enjoy it. But there's times I'm like, okay, I know I need,
Yeah.
They want me to play this with them. I would rather play cards. I would rather read a book. I would rather go out and play water flowers. I don't know, anything, the Fridays I built in just to be with my kids. Because otherwise I wasn't seeing them. I work late Mondays and Tuesday nights, so I'm not home. I don't get home until 6:15, 6:30. So then by the time we have supper, it's like that, especially during the school year. In the summer, I'm a little more lax with that. But so it's like you work that late those nights so that you can have that day of it's just us.
Right.
So we like to do a lot of outdoorsy things. We go on walks. We like the nature skate park. We like to do, that's more how I play, but I do wrestle and tickle and roughhouse kind of too. I grew up a lot that way with my dad. And so that comes easy to me, but to sit on the ground and play cars or play princess or whatever.
That's what's hard for me too. Like I would rather be active. I would rather be outside doing stuff or going on a walk or going on a bike ride or doing that. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I'm not, and sometimes I feel guilty about that because I'm like, gosh, all they wanted to do was play. Well, Jolie isn't really into Barbies yet, but the boys just wanted to be Batman for a little bit. So I'm always like, okay, well, I'm commissioner, and you boys have to go do X, Y, Z. Here's your mission. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
that's
awesome.
a bit of play I'm not quite as good at.
Is it ever a struggle to you to pull yourself away and realize I need to spend time with my kids right now and not be just doing stuff and doing the chores around the house and to play
It,
with them instead?
right. It used to be. I feel like I'm a lot better at it now. It's not really conscious anymore. I had to make it conscious for a long time. Like I had to make a conscious effort to be like, I am not going to do anything that I can't do with my kids right now. I'm only going to focus because they're going to go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a really big, I had to really work on that. I worked on that a lot. I have another rule. My husband and I, neither one are allowed on our phones while the kids are awake. So,
I love that.
yeah, we don't spend, I mean, a phone call is one thing, a text message from a family member is one thing, but as far as like getting on and looking up something on Google, or my husband, we're big Husker fans, so he likes to read like the Husker sports stories. We don't do any of that till the kids go to bed, because I want to model healthy electronic habits for them. I mean, how can I limit their time and try to give them healthy mental health things with that, all the while I'm sitting here being a hypocrite. So
Right.
when I get home, we put our phones down, and neither one of us we're not on our phones until the kids go to bed.
What if you have to ask
That's,
Google something that your kids are asking you and you just don't know the answer? That's where we
well,
come in. That's what
right.
we ask Google a lot of questions.
We would do that too. I mean, phone up
Yeah.
that, but I'm not going to be on Facebook. I'm not going to be
Yeah.
on, anything like that. Like now, if the kids ask a question, totally different. But the kids aren't allowed on their tablets, so I'm not allowed on mine. Essentially,
Yeah. Yeah.
this is family time. This is reconnect time. This is how'd your day go time.
I love it.
Yeah, it's been a good thing for us.
I love that. Let's talk about your social health. What does this look like for the adults in your family?
I actually have really good groups of friends. One set in particular, the three of us have a Marco Polo app that we can
Mm-hmm.
talk to each other on, and you can just leave videos for each other. So we're all moms, we're all busy. And so you can go back and watch the video that, your friend left last night, and you can laugh and, oh, the funny things your kids did, or whatever that is. We can do that through that app. And that has helped a lot. So like on my lunch hour, a lot of times I'll catch up on the videos that they left because my kids are at school or whatever. Um, so I'll catch up, and then I'll leave a video on like, oh, hey, today was my 5-year anniversary, and, we're going to have BLTs for supper tonight, or whatever it is. And so that's awesome. And Josh and I we both have good friend groups, in so much as we can just say, hey, Sunday, like this coming Sunday, I'm going to brunch with two of my high school friends. So it's like, just put it on the calendar and we'll make it work.
Yeah.
And that's what we both do. As long as it's on the calendar, it can happen.
That's kind of how it is at our family. So that's helpful. It's nice to be able to look at the calendar and know, oh, now I'm going to just say there are many Fridays where I get to Friday 4:00 in the afternoon, and then I look at the calendar for the weekend and I'm like, oh crap, my husband has to work tomorrow. I have no childcare when I have class. So then I kind of scramble to find someone to watch the kids for an hour and a half in the morning, but
right.
It works. And he's like, well, it's been on the calendar. My schedule's on the calendar months in advance. And I know, but I think about childcare the whole week. I don't want to think about it on the weekend also.
And I'm lucky that Josh doesn't work weekends. When he did work weekends, because he used to have a shift where he worked every other weekend. Oh, it was horrible.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't envy that at all.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I don't have that worry.
Yeah. And it's random. And it's usually only 2 Saturdays a month, but it's those 2 Saturdays that get me. That I'm like, dang it.
Right. Hi, man.
Yeah. Yeah. What about social health or social time for your kids? What does that look like? I mean, I know they're involved in sports and all of that kind of stuff. Do they do anything else outside of that?
We church,
Yeah.
they have friends there. Hank is my oldest, is just getting old enough that he can invite friends over and like stay the night or do, things like that. Um, we also, the friend group that we have the Marco Polo thing together, our kids all overlap in age enough that we can say like, hey, let's meet at the park at this time. Um, but my kids, honestly though, like we haven't really seen a whole lot of friends this summer. We've been so busy, between Hank Little League and travel ball, and then Duke did blast ball and soccer and swim lessons, and you know, it's everything.
Yeah.
So, and I
Yeah.
think
They're running with their own
it's
stuff.
right. And the kids go to daycare 2 days a week. So I kind of feel like
Yeah.
they get their fill of friends there.
Oh, for
And
sure.
we can kind of do our family stuff other than that.
Yeah. Yeah. The
Oh,
other time is left for family, and that's a really
right.
good balance. Okay. What do you do for self-care for yourself?
Um, the biggest thing for me is having quiet time, like time that I can meditate or time that I can visualize or time that I can just let my brain go quiet. And that's a struggle for me. So I do practice yoga. Not as much in studio as I need to, but I do at home. I like to go for walks. Like I like those things. And there's times that like I just need Josh. Like, hey, can you just take the kids so I can have like 10 minutes of just no talking, you know?
Yes.
Um, and so that's a good thing. I really try to eat well. I try to move well. Because I know if I don't, I pay for it.
Yes.
Even, you know, emotionally, I don't feel as good. I don't feel as, I get adjusted a lot, which helps. I get massages. I don't get that as much as I need to. But I know if I don't take that time for me, I can't take it, you can't pour from an empty cup. So,
Right. Right.
um, that's been a struggle for me. I think as a mom, we naturally put ourselves on the back burner, and that's not fair. That's not fair to us. That's not fair to our kids. Um, I turn into a grouch bucket. So I need
Yeah.
to be a happier mom, and I'm a happier mom when I take care of myself too. So,
Cool. Good. So what does that look like as far as your relationship with your husband? Because that also falls into that self-care and just the making
right.
time for helping your relationship thrive and grow.
Actually, we used to have a rule like once a month we would go on a date, just us two. We haven't been as strict with that lately, and luckily we have family close that can help. Uh, but if either one of us kind of look at each other and we're like, man, you just get those feelings of like disconnection.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if we're feeling that at all, we know it's time for us. Like, and we're not as strict on every 3 weeks or every month we're gonna go do this, but it's just more organic now. We just know it's time. We took a week's vacation without our kids this year, and we went to Mexico, the two of us, and that was awesome. We really really needed that. I didn't know. It's not like we were on the verge of anything, but we weren't as happy as we could have been. We
Right.
needed that time of not being mom and dad, but just being Josh and LeeAnn.
Yeah.
So, um, and we did that for the first time this year. And I think that's going to be something we're going to try and do, maybe not yearly, but more of, and maybe not a week, but just a long weekend, um, just a couple overnights without the kids. And that has helped us a lot too. So either one of us can say, hey, I think we need time together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's kind of our code for like, we're just not as good as we should be. So
Right. That's crucial. I know,
it
I
is.
didn't have my kids last week. They were with my parents, and finally it seemed like it took about half the week, but then it was like Matt was realizing like, oh, I don't have to stay in my normal routine. And
Right.
yes, my wife needs me and I need to spend time with her. And
Yes.
we were able to reconnect and just feel a little bit better about going into having this baby, and it was so peaceful because
Right.
we didn't have little people running around. But it was fun. We got to do some of the stuff that we enjoy doing together and that we don't take the time to do with each other when the kids are around.
Right.
So,
And then there's times there's that guilt. I don't know if you ever feel it, but I get that mom guilt sometimes. I'm like, man, I'm having fun without my kids.
yes.
You know, like I feel bad. Like we're going to go do X, Y, Z and it would be really fun, but I need this time with my husband, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So then I feel guilty, but then at the same time, I'm like, no, they're having fun with grandma and grandpa. Why would you own that feeling of guilt? There's no reason for it, you know? So sometimes I have to talk myself through that. Like everything's good, you know, like we're all having fun. We're just not all having fun together. You know?
Yeah. There was this ounce of guilt when I dropped my kids off with my parents last week. And I was like, the whole way back from Osceola, I was like, oh, I just feel so bad. I haven't seen them very often. And now I'm sending them off with my parents for a week. And it's terrible. But my husband was like, why? I feel this like freeness. And I'm like,
exactly.
Oh, you're probably right. I need to get over that. And they'll be fine. They'll have fun. And they did. They had a blast.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's times I feel bad about that. For me, anyway, I've noticed it comes in groups. Like I can go 6 weeks and not feel like I need that one-on-one time with my husband, you know? But then there's like 2 weekends in a row that I'm like, no, for real, we need to drop the kids off a couple nights, you know?
Yes.
And it's like, I feel bad that I'm like, oh my goodness, that was 2 weekends in a row. But then you don't go again for however long.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
I kind of agree. There is that kind of hangover at first where you kind of forget how to just be you two and not be mom and dad, you know?
Yeah.
So the first one's like a, hey, how are you? And the second one's like, hey, I know you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So, it took me Tuesday, Wednesday last week. And I had messaged him early in the day and said, hey, let's do something tonight. And he was like, okay, when I'm done working out at 7. And I'm like, oh, okay, so I'm last priority. Like
exactly.
Whatever.
That's really cool,
boy.
Man. Yeah.
Yeah. And then finally I kind of had to put, like, on Wednesday I had to say, listen, like, you're done with work at 3 and you're saying that you can't spend time with me or do something with me until 7 because you need to work out at 5:30. That's not right. We can do something else in between that time or,
exactly.
Okay.
I agree with that.
Just took me being a little bit blunt about it to say, we're doing something.
Women, we need to be better at that. Because I honestly think that men, we think that they just know. They don't. They don't. We got to say, you know what? This is what I expected. And I know sometimes expectations don't meet reality. But this is what I was expecting. And you're not even giving me anything close to that right now, you know? And I've gotten better at that, and not being rude about it. And I'm not attacking you. I'm just telling you, this is what I feel. This is what I need.
Right. But to say it in a loving way and to say it lovingly, this is what I'm needing right now from you. And I'm not getting it. And I'm not trying to say this to offend you or to hurt your feelings or anything. I'm just saying this is what I'm needing also.
Exactly. And I think that we all need to get better at asking for that. Because you can say it without being attacking, you know, you don't have to be accusatory. You don't have to be like, you don't care. No, he does care about you, you know?
Right.
But the moment I'm having these feelings, can you help me, you know?
Right.
And that's a big communication point in our relationship, I guess.
Huge. So what did it look like going from, this is a random off the cuff question, but going from 2 to 3 kids? Like, this is why Huck is here with me right now. So if you're listening to this and you hear other noises, it's because my 5-year-old is here and he just wanted to come with me to the studio and maybe have just some mom time, even though I told him, like, I'm going to be recording. We're not doing anything fun. He still wanted to come here. What did that dynamic look like when you added Jolie?
It's just now getting better. And
thanks. That's encouraging.
Right. She's 2. But honestly, you know, those first couple, especially babies that nurse, they really want to be by mommy. They really need to be, you know. And so Josh really took the boys a lot, and I had a lot of one-on-one time with her. And we're just now getting to the point where we can get back to the one-on-one time with each kid. However, we, you know, like more evenly, I guess. But at this point in time, like, I think the jump from 1 to 2 was a lot harder than the jump from 2 to 3.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, because really, you're already, like, at 1, you have two adults to one kid all the time. So it's like,
Yeah.
hey, you still have that alone time kind of,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? And now with having two, I mean, you're probably taking one, Matt's taking the other. And so you always kind of have a little person with you.
Yeah.
With three, you still always have a little person with you. You may have one, you may have two, but you always have somebody with you.
Yeah.
And, so I think the jump from 1 to 2 was harder than 2 to 3. And for my friends that have 4, they say once you cut 3, you may as well have 8 because
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
you're already outnumbered. So
yeah, exactly. How did that look? Because I know you took Jolie to the office with you quite a bit. So owning your own business, were there benefits in that? What did you do to differently, I guess, when you had kids, or how are your kids involved with your business at all?
So I took Hank with me. Hank came, I think I was only off 10 days with Hank. And I took him with me. And so I tried to cluster book my patients to the point that I would see all of them when he was pretty sleepy. So I had like a swing and I had a little thing at work, or my patients would love to hold him. And so he came with me all the time. He came with me until he was so mobile that I couldn't kind of contain him, like patients would be walking out the door and he'd be like crawling right behind me. So then we had to find something different. With JoJo, Josh actually got 20 weeks through his work. So
oh yeah, I remember you saying this.
20 weeks is a long time, which I was so thankful for, because I can't do that. Owning your own business, you don't get paid material. You don't get sick leave. You don't get anything. So he would bring JoJo to me at my breaks, so that way I could nurse her, or that I could see her on my off time. And then we lived close enough that over my lunch hour, I was able to go home. So I would go home and nurse her. So, yeah. But if I didn't have a husband that wasn't willing to do that, I mean, there's no way we could have done, what we did.
Yeah.
So,
well, and that's what I'm thinking. Like with this baby, I'm just hoping that we can work something where maybe it comes with me in the morning to the studios at times, because I do have help now in class that I feel as though if I needed to, I could leave, nurse, and come back, and class would still be fine and going on.
Right. I wore my babies a lot when I was leaving a job. I would just wear them in a carrier, and people would be like, oh, it's the koala chiropractor today. And it was like this joke, and that was fine. And it worked out well,
Yeah.
But I mean, and I had family. So my mother and father-in-law helped a lot, and my mom and dad both helped a lot. So, and my sister too. So between all of them, I always felt like my baby was very well taken care of. So it allowed me to relax and be the business owner I needed to be,
That's good.
Along with still feeling like a decent mom. So,
yeah, right.
So
your patients still felt like they were being served as best that they needed, and that you could also be a mom.
Right. And I find that a lot of patients too, I mean, I think being in a small town helps too, but
for sure.
A lot of them are really, really happy to know my kids.
Yeah.
They want to know what my kids look like. They want to know what they're involved with. They want to know, about our vacations, or they're happy that we took, a week off to go on vacation with them because they're only little for a little while,
Right.
And they genuinely care about my kids, I think. And a lot of it is probably smaller town,
Yeah.
So I feel very, very blessed to have.
Definitely beneficial.
That. Yeah.
Okay, last question. How does all of this tie into creating health, harmony, and happiness for you? What are some of your key takeaways that round this out altogether?
Things that I've really had to learn is I can't own things I can't control. So I can't own how somebody feels. I can't own I can own how I treat them. I can own my reactions to them, but I can't own their feeling, I also am not perfect, and I have to be willing to say, I'm sorry, or I was wrong, or, hey, I didn't know X, whatever it was. And to know when to ask for help. I've given up, I don't do any of the financial stuff at home. That's that has helped my mental health a lot, because I couldn't do all of it. I think we have to realize that in order to be super mom, in order to be super business owner, in order to be the best you can be, you can't be all things to all people. So you have to know when to delegate, when to ask for help, when to, I have patients that'll ask me like, hey, what about this? And I'm like, you know what? I'm not sure. Let me go look it up. Instead of pretending to just be like the end all be all and know all, which is impossible to do.
Yeah.
To just be honest, and I think honesty, maybe now as I think about it, like to be honest with myself, I'm feeling XYZ, so I need to do blah, 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 blah. Or, hey, honestly, looking at my home life, I haven't spent as much time with my kids as I need to. Or my husband being honest with me, like, hey, we need to go on a date. Or, I think that all the communication, the honesty, and really being self-aware enough to know where you are in your space, whatever your headspace is. So
that's a huge thing, is that mindfulness of yourself and how you're, I don't know, making your family feel, making your business clients feel as well.
Right.
And just bringing that awareness into your practice.
And I think your intentions matter a lot. Is your intention to bring peace and harmony and whole well-being to somebody, or is your intention not here today? Like, is your intention not where your attention is? You know? My grandma has always told me that the grass is greener where you water it. So you need to make sure you're watering the important things in your life. Are you watering your family? Are you watering your marriage? Are you watering your business? And making sure there's enough water to go around to all of those things, and not watering, I don't know, Netflix or whatever.
Right.
Making sure that you are spending your time where you want to water, where you want to flourish,
Yeah. That's great.
So, yeah.
That's wonderful. Okay. Well, you gave me some really good insights and some really good tips. So thank you very much. I always have fun talking with you, and that's why it's always hard for me to get out of your office, because I always am bombarded by all of your wealth of knowledge and experience, and I love it. So thank you very, very much. What a fun conversation that was to have. Like I said at the beginning, you guys, I always come away from my appointments with her with some nugget of information that I can take back and share with our family. And even if we don't integrate it into our family right away, it's something that I tuck away as a nugget that maybe someday will work for our family. Thank you so much again, LeeAnn, for being a part of the show. You can find her in Knoxville locally at the Chiropractic Health Center, or on Facebook at Huff Chiropractic. That's HUFF Chiropractic. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thanks for tuning in. If you like what you hear, help us grow this podcast by sharing it with even just one other person. And it would mean so much to me if you would take a moment of your time to write a review. Your comments and feedback are what help me continue to bring you topics and guests that can help you and others on their journey in creating health, harmony, and happiness. Remember to head on over to CairnYogaWellness.com to get the show notes and links from today's episode. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Cairn Yoga Wellness, and to continue connecting with more resources that could help you enhance health, harmony, and happiness in your own life, subscribe to this podcast. Thanks again for listening.